Okay. Recruiter interview usually happen in the first round of interview. It can be through phone or can be on-site, or can be video. It really depends on companies. Remember this, recruiters, they have a few tasks that they need to accomplish during the interview. Number one, they need to understand and confirm the candidate has met the bar for hard skill and academic background and work experience bar. Number two, they need to ensure that the candidate can communicate with English very well, and they have a good soft skill, interpersonal skill. And number three, they need to make sure the candidate's personality and working style from high level match with company's culture. Okay, so they really have those three tasks to do in that interview with you. So how can you address each of these and leave them peace of mind? For the hard skill, usually for the first round of interview with a recruiter, even though the interview can do some judgment around the hard skill, but because they're not the subject matter, they're not the expert in this field, usually they will not go too deep on the professional aspect. So chances that they will not ask too many questions around hard skill, but what you should do is be very familiar with your resume. And then when answering hard skill related questions, use keywords, okay? Keywords, I just share how I read those keywords from job description. So use your keywords, jargons, industry jargons, and tools that are required in the job description. For the communication skill, admittedly, this can be a challenge for most international students whose first language are not English. However, people usually worry about the language itself, such as grammar. That's true, but that's just one aspect of it. Another aspect of a communication that also cannot be ignored is whether or not the candidate can express accurately in a logical way and a professional way. So there are two aspects of communication. Communication is not just about language, the grammar. It's also about how you think, your thinking process. Okay, can you put your thinking clearly? Like even if when you speak in your native language, can you put your thinking clearly so that people can understand you accurately? Okay, so there are two aspects. For the language itself, the grammar, those stuff, we all know that it takes a long-term effort to improve. So for this particular session, I would not talk about how to improve your English, but what you can do is you need to be very familiar with your resume again and prepare questions and answer around your resume. Or those answers prepared need to have a great grammar. You can write it down, correct the language, and remember it, right? Remember to the point that you can just like talk to it naturally. To do that, you can find a mentor, you can find friends for mock interview, right? Just do mock interview as many as possible, and then collect those questions they ask, and then prepare for the answers. The more questions you prepared, the more familiar you will be with the answer. Okay, you will perform better during the interview. How can you express yourself clearly in a logical and professional way? There is a model called STAR, S-T-A-R. S is situation, T is task, A is action, R is a result. You can find that online. You can do Google search STAR, S-T-A-R, STAR model. So when you prepare for answers, use the STAR model, and it's a great tool to practice your thinking process and your communication. And then the last one, personality and culture fit. Recruiter will try to evaluate your personality or working style through the interview and see how much you fit into the team and the company. Whether you will stay in the company for a long run. So to prepare this, first be yourself and do not try to fake anything, honestly. And then do research to understand the company's culture, their mission and their culture, and then where they really value at, right? Who their main clients can be, and then where they are in the industry. You can find all this information online in the company's website. And then let's move to the interview tips with team member, or you can also call it a business partner, team member, counterpart team member, something like that. And this really the interviewer also come from, it can be from the similar related team. For example, if I'm in marketing, digital marketing team, that people can also from brand marketing team, where that's a counterpart. Sorry, that's the business partner. Or it can also come from finance team, because as a marketing manager, we manage budget and we work with finance a lot. So it can also come from the finance team or the business analytics team, because they do deeper data analysis that they support the marketing decisions. So it can also come from that team. They usually focus on three things too. Number one, your professional experience and your hard skill. And then number two, whether you can be a good partner to work with. And number three, whether you can solve their problems or make their work easier by supporting them with your work. Here are tips preparing for interview with them. So before the peer interview, I suggest you first do research about interviews, professional profile. A good place is LinkedIn. If the job is referred by internal employer, you can also ask the referral about the interview's background, his or her role, team, those stuff. And then the next one, once you have completed the research, prepare your interview communication plan and your self-introduction accordingly. Chances are based on where they are, what the background is, you can adjust your self-introduction relatively. When you interview with a business partner, be very engaged in the conversation instead of purely answer questions. A lot of people, international people, they do not have confidence, or they are afraid of sharing the professional insights about related topics. I would say, do not think of it that way. Be really confident and share about your professional insights about related topics during the interview. You can have a really natural communication instead of just a purely ask and answer interview format. The communication, back and forth interaction will actually make them feel better, because it kind of like show them how your communication, your working relationship will be if you get the job. So I would say really naturally communicate with them. Do not afraid of sharing the insights that you have. And then additionally, if you can find any, or you can hear any specific problem that they're trying to solve currently, use your professional experience to propose a few suggestions. That doesn't hurt, never hurt. Okay, try to demonstrate your problem solver, because they want you to be able to solve problems for them. The next one is an interview with the hiring manager. A few things they want to understand is, are you interested in this role? For this one, you should really leverage the opportunity to demonstrate your passion, how this role and experience will help build your long-term career success. And again, do not afraid of asking questions. A lot of time, ask good questions to not only showcase your interest, but also demonstrate your professional experience. And then they would also want to say if there is a job fit and a culture fit. So then read the JD, right? Read the JD. Do a demand and supply analysis. Demand is things they're looking for. Supply is the experience that you can supply with. And then they also want to say, if you're a quick learner, how fast can you be onboarded? Can you just, do you need to take a long time to get onboarded and start to work, or you can just like easily onboard it and start to work and solve problems right away, right? And then for that one, you probably want to demonstrate your fast learner through your previous experience. And then can you help achieve his or her goal, right? What's your added value? Again, love your experience. How did you achieve the goal? How did you achieve the team goal previously? Or if it's an academic project, how did you contribute or achieve the academic result, achieve the academic project goal, right? Be prepared. And then chemistry between you and her. Remember that hiring manager is also a human being. They expect good relationship with their team, and also they have their work style, they have their own management style. So for example, some manager focus on details and expect daily checking with his team. And some they just manage the overall direction, and they expect you to own the entire program, more hands off. So you should really use this interview opportunity to understand that person's management style. Okay, does his management style fit into your working style? Remember, it's when they interview you, you are also interviewing them or interview for the job. It's not job application or interview. It's not just they select you. You are also selecting the company, and you are also selecting your future bosses or people you're gonna work with in your daily life. So that's also very important. So don't be afraid to ask questions such as what's your management style. Also, you can leverage your network to understand if that internal referral or someone can tell you that people's management style.